So I've had some requests. I've had actually quite a few requests. People are liking what I do, but they want to really not just see the end product, want to see how you get there. So this is first video. I'm going to talk about the beginnings of finishing off a Voyager pad. Greetings, Dave here, DCBFX. This is going to be the start of a series of videos on finishing off a pad. So this is the pad that I showed off before. This is the one that I did. I did two of them, one for a build yourself, another one for a Merry Christmas someone bought to give to their husband, who, by the way, he loved. He thought that they were awesome. So I'm going to go through what I'm going to do to this in order to make this into a little bit more functioning pad. When I first showed this up to my friends at Deck 7, it's like, oh, cool, LEDs? No, not for what they're paying for. It was a static pad. But what I'm going to do with this was I'm going to take this to the next level. I'm going to add in some LEDs. So this really, here's the start of it all. These are the three pieces. These are all FDM or filament printed. It takes a while. What I do is I'll put the link to the Thingiverse. One thing when you take a look at this file, the one thing I didn't see when I first made this is, usually I just take the files and I print them. When you look at the details in it, he says, you know what, take the greeblies and print them about 2 to 3% smaller so they fit. So when I printed them for the customer, they were a little tight, so I had to do quite a bit of shaping to get it down. So what I'm going to do with that then is they're the greeblies that went sort of in here and in here. I'm going to print them in clear resin and then rough them up a little bit so they're going to be opaque enough. Well, not opaque, they're going to be translucent enough for the light to shine through, because I'm going to basically take this, I'm going to drill all the way through, and I'm going to mount LEDs in the back for these holes here. So the holes here and the one here. And I'm going to put, I think, too, some LEDs in here. So I have the display, the medical display I had before. I printed a lot of them, so I'll just use that again. And I will have light coming through that. So still a work in progress. I haven't just figured out what I'm going to do with here, but that's what I have. So just getting down to it, this is a great file. The way that the gentleman made this is nice and segmented. So these raised parts here fit perfectly into here. And when I actually gave this to the customer finished, there are little slots here that you put holders in. These go all the way through, so they then match up with the holes in the back. I just sit here. I'm not going to bother gluing it, so that way if you want to, you could take it apart and change the display. So this is going to be pretty easy to do, and given that I only have these two sections here that are pushed through, I really could here basically remove this, just leave enough of the lip here so that you don't see that. Remove here, and then on this back piece I can remove some here as well to give room for the microcontroller. I do have a couple that are quite slim, quite thin. I'm more concerned about getting the LiPo in here, how I'm going to do that. So there will be some grinding. This is like I say, this is going to be a work in progress. So I need to start working on that. So that's the update on this. At this point, these two pieces have been printed, and they've been my resin smooth technique. I love that. It's working so well. I'm going to go get them a sand, and I still need to get this one in and get them resin smooth. I just went into the office yesterday to pick it up because the printer had gone all night. I don't like it sitting there for a couple days just doing nothing. So went in and I brought it home just to lay it up. But I need to get back in. This edge here along all of it needs to be smooth, because you do see a bit of it. So if I put these two on here and throw that on the back, you do see a bit of the edge here and here, a little bit. So I just want to make sure it's perfect. So that is basically video 1 in making a blinky pad. So check back in later and you'll see more. I'm going to give this a good sand right now, and we'll see where that goes from there. So thanks for stopping by. We'll talk to you soon. Okay, so 20 minutes later, I now have this. So yeah, that's what I love about this technique. By resin smoothing it, by just giving it a quick little paint of resin and then curing it. And now, if you're going to do this, you obviously need a UV curing station, or you can leave it outside in the sun. But this is winter, once the sun's out there. So by doing this, I've had a discussion with some people about that. What about XTC? What about these other smoothing things? Well, this is good in a minute. Like seriously, I paint on the resin Even this, you know, holding the top piece, just hold, paint, 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 paint. Minute, 2 minutes. Pop it under the UV light for a minute. Pull it out, give it a quick wash in isopropyl, and then a little wash in water. Voila, you got a good, solid surface to sand from. Like, look at that. Like, hard to see with this, but could you even say that that is an FDM print? No, I can't at this point. It looks amazing, and this is also without primer. So I'm going to get this coat of primer, and then we'll go from there. So I want to add a quick little addendum to what I said a little while ago. This was just really, like, seriously, 20 minutes worth of sanding with a power sander, and it was a pretty decent grit. So there we go. So that is the beginnings. So I hope to talk to you all real soon.